Hi, everybody. Pastor Jason, good to be back with you once again for another Wednesday reflection. This weekend upcoming is the 17th Sunday after Pentecost. And words that I want to bring to you this day come to us from the epistle lesson from James chapter 3. James is an incredible book that even Martin Luther thought could cause people concern, and yet understanding it correctly brings great joy and peace, and also a challenge to us as the people of God. He talks about works and how important works are, and Luther understood that people might be confused and think that good works save, and yet throughout Scripture we know that is not to be the fact, that good works flow from faith, that the faith that we have causes us automatically to do good things for others as we lift them up and serve them in their places. And so as we look at James chapter 3, we look at the peace that Christ wants us to have and to share with one another. And you're going to hear some words that flow from that grace which God has given to us. In the midst of division and strife and bitterness and anger, selfishness, you'll hear those words as well. Christ calls us to live a different life. I pray that as you hear these words, you will take them to heart, pray upon them to our great God, and work according to His will to follow them. Again, from James chapter 3. Who is wise and understanding among you? By his good conduct, let him show his works in the meekness of wisdom. But if you have bitter jealousy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast and be false in the truth. This is not the wisdom that comes down from above, but is earthly, unspiritual, demonic. For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there will be disorder and every vile practice. But the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, impartial and sincere. And a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. What wonderful words of God we have laid before us this day. We can look at these words and think, well, of course, they make perfect sense. If we're bitter and jealous and have selfish ambitions, of course, those things all turn inward and are about us. And God, of course, is always about what is outside of Him and what saves us. And for us as His creatures who have heard the word of Jesus, who know who He is and what He has done, He calls us to live in kind. It's not about me, but about what Jesus has done through me. It's not about my glory and what I can acclaim to or push towards, but about Him and what He is all about and what He wishes to do in the lives of every living human being. And so for me, it is always my goal. 7 years ago, Laurel and the family and I, we went to Illinois, and as some of you have noted maybe on my page, that 7 years ago, the church that I was blessed to begin to be the church planter for closed its doors. I was blessed with 12 wonderful years in that community, met a lot of wonderful people, had a lot of baptisms, a lot of confirmations, rejoiced over many marriages, and got to know many people who either began their faith life through the waters of baptism or by profession of faith, or were confirmed in that and grew together in that. And as they know, and I pray you know as well, I look at these words from James, and that's always my prayer, and I pray it's yours as well. To not live a life of jealousy of someone else. For God has them where they are, and He has you where you are. To not have selfish ambition, but that your ambition is always about how you can grow other people. And for me, in my place, how I can spread that wonderful message of Jesus. My ambition is this, that more and more might come to know Jesus and who He is and what He has done. That's always been my mission. And I pray that as I ponder these words from James, again, as I said earlier, that this would be the challenge for all of us this day. To understand that the true wisdom from above is first and foremost from above, not from within. God is the giver of all gifts. The devil wants us to have division and strife and be selfish, and our ambitions are about ourselves first. He wants us to cause strife with one another and evil intent. I know those people. I see those things just as you do as well. And yet may we this day turn our hearts to our great God. The wisdom from above is pure. That's the prayer. That my heart, as fallen of a nature as it is, would continue to be purified in him, so that when I speak and act and respond, it might be pure in heart, based upon who our God is and what he has given, at least to me. To be peaceable, to bring peace, to be gentle. Important things for us in this volatile world. To be open to reason. Again, that's something that seems to make easy sense and yet so often is difficult in this day. You talk to someone and you think you are reasonable with them and have a reasonable request or a comment about the faith or what's going on, and it isn't always responded to as you hoped it would. And yet that doesn't change the goal, to be open to reason, to be full of mercy. That one I could never minimize. Again, in a world and a culture that so often is combative, that God has given us incredible mercy, loved us when we really were unlovable, shown us mercy upon mercy in Jesus the Christ himself. And because of that, what a model the mercy is for us. That when we see people, it's not only about what's right and wrong, and maybe even more so that you have to be right or I have to be right. But then in the midst of that is mercy. Mercy and understanding for the conversations that you are having. Good fruits, again, a goal. It's always to benefit others, that good fruits might be born, to be impartial and sincere. It's easy for us in our beliefs to have partiality. You talked about that a little bit at last Wednesday's reflection. But God calls us to be impartial, to be objective, and to look at each situation with the words I just spoke of, in mercy, and to be sincere. To be sincere in truly how you care for people. Not to be flippant, not just to say, hey, God bless you, but not really mean it. But to truly be sincere in what you say and how you live. That, my friends, will go a long way. Even if they disagree with something that you say, they'll know you spoke the truth in love, and as the words here state, were sincere. That's why I speak these words to you in sincerity. I truly care about who you are in your lives and what's going on. And as I've said many times over the past year and a half, let me know if there's something that I can pray for you in sincerity, that I truly do care, and I want to hear what your concerns are. If any way I can be an outlet to the situations that you're going on in your life, I am absolutely here for you. That's the good wisdom from above. That's the good wisdom from our great God. It's a goal for me. I pray it's a goal for you as we live it out in his name. The last verse is important. Doing all these things, a harvest of righteousness is sown. Of course, it's always about him. And it's sown in peace by those who make peace. The peace that God has given to us in Jesus Christ reminds us we know who we are and whose we are and where we're going. My prayer is this, that the peace given to us might be shared with others. Indeed, may we live a peaceable life in him.